Okay, I have been selling real estate here in the Valley for 25 years in August. I'm seasoned. I don't use the OLD word as much, yeah. And I've had my ups and my downs. I've had my ass kicked. I've had huge success. And I found myself a year or so ago just tired. The market was not, it was what it was, right? And I found myself, I want to build a team, I want to do this, and I was just grinding along, and I realized that I was fooling myself because I was saying, here's my playbook, but I wasn't following the playbook. So I said, to heck with it. I'm going to get back, and I'm going to focus on my production, and I'm going to focus on doing what I say you should do and keeping it simple. Open houses, contacting my sphere, and prospecting, organizing myself, and this is my playbook. So I started that. I drew a line in the sand and I said, this is bullshit, because my year was horrible last year. Like mid-year, I was like dead in the water into 2023. So I said, no, I'm going to get back, because I have the experience, but I got back to work and I focused on my playbook, and it has worked. It worked so well that I have done more this year to date than I did all of last year. My year-over-year personal production is up over 300%. My team's production is up over 200%. It isn't hard work, yes, but it was getting back to the basics and focusing on our playbook, and so I resolved to give back and say, well, I'm just going to show and open the kimono, like, what do I do? You don't have to do what I do, and you don't have to join my team, you don't have to do any of that stuff, but it helps me to teach it to you. So that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm doing. And we created a little series to go through our system of how we do business, okay? And we're doing Mastering Open Houses today. We're doing a mass action just to get you guys on your toes a little bit. We said, let's go after this. So I'm doing personally 50 open houses in a 60-day period between July 1st and the end of August. That's a lot of open houses. Sherry's doing the same thing, and our other team members are doing the same thing. We've got a commitment to do over 200 open houses in the next 2 months, and you're like, that's silly, it's hot, it's miserable, who wants to do that? But the reality is, activity begets activity, and when you're out there, I think we've already got 3 new buyers in the last week. That's not great, but why not? If you want to build your business, you've got to decide how you're going to do it, and open houses is a pillar for those of you who want to do that is very viable. And I want to make sure you know what we do, so that if you want to rip off and duplicate it, you can. All right. Before we do that, as I mentioned before, we take a second, pushing open houses aside. We all know that August 1st, the MLS is changing, right? Automatically, all of our co-broke information is gone. We don't know when we look on the MLS what we're going to get paid. If we go out and someone says, hey, I want to go see 123 Main Street, I go, great, I'll meet you over there, and I use that super lockbox and I open it up. Probably nothing will happen, right? Probably. But let's say I showed her listing and she saw that I used her listing, and she knows that I'm kind of a jerk and I don't pay attention, and the last transaction I had with her, she just didn't enjoy. And she says, I know this person, and she picks up the phone and calls the support line and says, you know, that Carl Eisenberg, I'm almost certain, yes ma'am?
Nothing.
I'm almost certain that he does not have a signed by a broker for his plan. And he showed my listing. She does that, and they'll react because they're afraid of the DOJ. And they're being ultra sensitive. And boy, would they love an example to be made out of me, all right? $500 fine.
Is it a $500 fine?
Well, the first time,
that's what they're talking?
Yeah, second time's $5,000, and they have the right to suspend your participation on.
No grace period. August 1st. There's no grace period. So.
Whoa.
What am I supposed to do?
I need your verification.
Okay. So where am I supposed to go? To Google?
Yeah.
Oh. Doesn't trust me? No. Not only do my friends and peers not trust me and report me to our list, but Google doesn't trust me. Okay, got it.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, settle down. There we go.
Slideshow. All right, so I just wanted to take a minute, okay, and just is everyone here with MyHomeGroup? You're not, yeah. So AAR.com, okay? And then type in, they have these long initials now, BBEER. Buyer Broker Exclusive Employment Agreement is their new acronym. But just type in Buyer Broker Agreement, and I think on the 6th or a few days last week, they came out with their new revised draft, okay? And in it, it's redlined, pick a red line. They have all these options, a sample. It's like, whenever it says draft, I'm like, whatever. It's a draft. I want to read it, want to understand it, okay, get it, talk about it, but I'm not going to go crazy because it's a friggin' draft. I'm not going to put it into my system, but I wanted to take a moment and talk about it. We also sent out and I made copies of.
I think it's important to say that this draft is not going to be approved until like July 30th or something like that. So it's still in the works.
Oh.
Did you do that?
Yeah, we copied the wrong thing, but that's okay. I was making copies of the frequently asked questions, but instead you have the first page of 5 of all their descriptions of what that is. So you can read it, but I would hesitate. Yes, ma'am.
I just have one question about the scenario that
Yeah, it can be.
we're just writing about right now.
Right. Which, as you know, I may be a broker. I'm not the designated broker, and I'm a peer, and it's my opinion. So I'll give you my opinion.
Okay, so let's say I have a brother who's in California.
Yep.
And I'm the agent, right?
Yes.
And I want to go look at that house.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to sign a buyer broker with me for me to go look at that house on his behalf, since I kind of know what he wants, and he's my brother,
Good
for
question.
example. Do I have to actually have a buyer broker
That's a
agreement
good question.
with him?
Say it again, so I understand it clearly.
So
You're a licensed. You're a
I'm
licensee here,
agent,
and you have somebody,
and my brother, who lives
So
in
he-
California, wants to move to Arizona in the next few months.
and
he
he's a
says-
buyer.
And he's a buyer,
He just happens to be your brother.
correct. So
Okay.
I don't have to sign a buyer broker agreement with him before I go look at the house to see if I even think he's gonna be
But
remotely
you'd
interested.
be representing him eventually. Is that correct? All right.
I think
First
the
off,
question is, what I hear her saying is previewing. You're previewing
Yeah.
for somebody.
Let's say that.
So
oh, he's not with you. You're just
Correct,
previewing.
correct.
Yeah.
Or yes, okay, let's say.
So
he's
let's
not
talk about
with me.
the letter of the not the law, but of armless. Sorry about that. Let it go. And let's talk about reality. Okay. The letter of it. If you ask the attorney or if you asked our designated broker, they would say, well, you are potentially representing someone. Well, of course you have to do that. Of course you do. Yes. And that's a fact. It's a buyer. You're representing him. Now the reality, though, it's your brother. Bro, look, the laws have changed. If I get called on this, okay, we're gonna post date a document. And you're gonna sign it, and you're gonna be fine with that, saying whatever I tell you. You're gonna say correct. Sure, sis, it's not a problem. Okay. And in reality, okay, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to preview for my own knowledge. Not for anyone else's knowledge, just my own knowledge of why I'm previewing it, so I have a higher level of market awareness. That's me spinning it so that I'm not going crazy. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and also what happens if I am looking for myself, for our next home, for example?
Well, same thing goes when you're a we've had that, and team members even, and they're like, but I'm buying it. You still have to create an agency disclosure to yourself because I'm schizophrenic and so am I. That's how it works, unfortunately. Sounds crazy.
just like if you're listing your home, your own personal home, you are the seller and you're listing it. You sign in 2 places on there. So I think our broker is going to say, yeah, you have to. If it's for you, you still have to sign a buyer broker agreement for yourself. I know that sounds whack.
And the reality is you're doing it for yourself. Yes, sir.
What about what she said, if you're just previewing to see what kind of houses are available in that neighborhood and
Preview.
for future
Yeah.
clients? So you
I'm
I
not
think
showing
it's-
it to
I
anyone.
think it's a
I'm not
broker question,
representing
and
anyone.
you're not representing anybody at that
So it's
time.
okay, right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're cool. Just like you're not going to have these at open houses. It was originally thought that anybody, when they came into an open house, was going to have to sign these, and that is not the case. So,
Okay, so if you're previewing for any house, you're gonna
I'm not
preview
going
10
to.
homes.
Right, once again, I'm giving you my personal opinion. If I'm previewing, I'm not gonna sign something for myself. And if I was buying a house for myself, okay, I know that to do the paperwork with my broker, I'm gonna have to fill all that crap out. And I have to post date it prior to when I started looking at it. And I might actually go through and do that paperwork just because I'm anal to make sure that it's in the file and I don't forget about it and it's not a hassle for me. But I know I can control it. It's me. It's my brother, right? But it's your friend, okay? We're moving it. It's kind of like there's no such thing as like halfway pregnant, right? It's like you just go there, right? And so it's a friend, and you have the friend conversation that says, hey, look, the world's changed, things are different, but the same. I've got your back. I'm going to protect you. It's all going to be good. But we have to have a discussion about what's always been the case, which is commissions are negotiable. They've always been negotiable. They're going to continue to always be negotiable. Thankfully, because you're working with me, working with you, and I know you're with me because you're here. You're more professional. You're thinking, how do I prepare? You're going to be the person they want to work with because you are excited about the opportunity to negotiate. That's the value proposition that we bring them, and you're going to be able to put those negotiation skills together when you put that package together. Because when you read this, it specifically states that you have the right to negotiate. And we have standard language in our existing buyer broker. We'll make certain that anyone who's come to our classes gets our revised, broker-approved opinion of how we change this for ourselves, okay? Like, for example, on page 1, line 36, rest assured, I've got a variety of words I'm thinking about, because if I say that I'm willing to work for 2%, just say I'm not going to do it. 2.5%. Well, I'm going to work for 2.5%. But I go out and you're trying to sell it, and you're offering a 4% co-broke. If I don't fill this out properly and think creatively, I am not legally allowed to get the 4%. I'm only allowed the 2.5%. That's it. The 1.5% goes as a buyer concession if their lender will allow it.
Can you put a range in there, 2.5?
That's what I'm saying. On that line right there, you can't say whatever specifically the NAR settlement, which of course I think is being appealed because they want more money and they want to kill us. But the reality is that you can't just say whatever it is. I used to write that. We can't write that. Whatever the MLS says is what I take. You can't say that. So, but I believe is a better word for me to use because I always want to make sure that my designated broker approves it. I draft everything. I send it to him. Are you good with this? No. Why don't you change this word? Put a comma here. I always do that, and I'll make sure after I've done all that, like the 31st of July, anyone who's come to any of our classes, I'm going to send that out. This is what I'm using. You don't have to use what I'm doing, but at least you know. Full disclosure. Does that make sense? And in my mind, I'm thinking that I'm going to say something around, this is me paraphrasing, and I need to make it much smaller, but I'm not going to work for anything less than X, but I want to ask for Y, and I have the ability to ask for Z. Something like that. And I want to make sure my broker approves it. Does that make sense?
I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm bouncing off of her question. So if she's just previewing stuff, but she knows that she may be looking for something, or her brother may be looking for something, and she finds something that either one of them looks like they might like, would they have to then go backdate this form to when she first saw it, or no?
Yes. Now, once again, this is me as your peer.
Okay.
If I was Andrew or a designated broker of any brokerage, there's no way they would answer it like this, okay?
Okay.
Because their answer is like, don't do that. Get it signed right away. Do the right thing. That's the answer.
Okay.
And we don't do workarounds, and we don't do sideways work. We're always 100% by the book. That's what we do. If I was doing it for myself, or I was doing it and I would be able to say with conviction, I had a verbal agreement, and I had a very clear meeting of the minds. It was, for all intents and purposes, a contract. I would say that to myself. Okay.
Okay.
Am I?
So if you're, because I'm brand new to this, so let's just say
if you're brand new, let me just make it simple for you. Just make it simple, because I've When you overthink things,
Okay.
you screw up. When you try to get too creative, you screw up. Seek first to understand. I'm going to understand this shit.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that this is what I'm supposed to say. I get it in my head. I'm going to memorize my script for that, which may sound canned. I'll write it out. What am I going to say? Then I'm going to internalize it. And then I'm going to personalize it. So that when I'm talking to my friend, I can pull the pieces however I want in that conversation. And I say, look, the world's changed. This is kind of crazy, but I'm doing this to protect you and make certain that you're covered. Because I'm going to let my clients cancel whenever they want to, because I never want to do business with someone who doesn't want to do business with me. I'm going to make sure that I clearly understand that the way this is written, if they don't do something, they owe me money. Well, commissions are only due to me upon successful close of escrow. That's my choice. You don't have to do that. Okay? But you're going to have to figure it out. This is what I do. And if you're uncomfortable with someone, you say, hey, as you know, I'm newer in this industry, and you're so important to me, I don't want to make any mistakes. I want to make sure you understand all this. We could probably get away with not doing this, but I want to make sure you get it.
Okay.
So just do it.
Okay.
Just do it.
But you can still, like, because I'm thinking because I'm new, I want to start previewing things in my area.
If you're previewing, you're previewing.
Okay.
Forget
Even
it.
if, and if you have a client like a week later that
Doesn't
comes
matter.
to you,
I
and
am
you
doing
preview, it
product
doesn't
knowledge.
matter.
I am learning the
Okay.
market. I know what I'm doing. I am previewing, and that's what I did on Aligned Showings. I didn't say showing. I said preview.
Okay.
And when I talk to it, I'm previewing. So that story is, you're safe and sound with that.
Okay.
So anyway, has everyone glanced through these drafts, these changes? Okay. Anybody got anything they want to talk about or mastermind on this before we jump into open houses?
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
If we already have a buyer broker in place, will we have to, in your opinion, update it with the new form?
To answer your question, I asked myself the same question, and I said, well, they haven't told me, because they haven't told us anything, because they're waiting, because all the forms are coming out late, and they're doing it August 1st, and like, geez, people, couldn't you have done this 60 days ahead of time? But they're reacting. I am planning. I'm telling my people, oh, by the way, things are changing. I just got a buyer broker signed the other day, and I said, just so you know, I'm going to have to talk to you again in a couple weeks, and we're going to make some changes to this, but this is how it all works. Is that okay? Yes, sir.
How are you getting it out to your like leads? Like say you have like 4,000 people in your lead system.
Okay. Well, first off,
That's tough.
let's talk about the concept of a lead and a client. A lead, people define leads differently, by the way, but how do you define a lead?
Somebody that just came in through like an ad or open house even, I guess.
So someone that you have met,
Yeah.
that you have identified, maybe looking for homes, and it's an opportunity for you to develop a future relationship with. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically.
All right. So the reality is that they need from you education about the real world, whether or not they hire you or not. But the reality is they need to know that come August 1st, they need to say, I am not represented. I refuse to be represented, and I am negotiating only with the seller. Well, then don't expect any buyer's agents to do you any favors. Don't expect them to open up a house, but then you buy it from someone. Those days are, and I believe the next 6 months are going to be messy as hell. Just messy. Because you're going to have people that are saying, I don't care, I'm going to do it my way, this is the way I do it. I mean, it's going to get messy, I guarantee it. And messy equates to opportunity for a professional. So when it's a lead, okay, you have an opportunity on those 4,000 people, because we're also calling 5,000 people each, dialing them at least in the next 60 days. That's massive action, right? So why not call those 4,000 leads?
Damn.
Why not? Get to work, Cinderella. Come on, they're a lead. You just
I
told
can see
me.
why video is very important now.
Fine, do a video and get it out to them. Communicate with them somehow that says, hello, by the way, you've heard about this, it's changing, I'd love to meet with you and share with you what that is. I'd like you to hire me. However you want to put that together. So I've taken 30 minutes. This is good.
Yes.
I get to breeze through.
To be continued, because I think there's a class like every other day starting next
Exactly.
week.
My point was, because of this, even though we had all these we still need to talk about this all the time. Okay, yes, sir.
So how does it work if you do an open house and some guy come by himself without an agent?
Okay.
So what would you say to him?
Okay, 2 points there. One, specifically that you're not showing them a house, you do not need a buyer broker agreement. However, I'm an opportunist when it comes to the fact that the world is changing. And we're going to talk about some of the things because I want to bring them in, okay? But one of those questions is, hey, have you signed an employment agreement with another realtor? I'm asking you.
No.
No?
But I
Okay.
do know a lot of agents.
I understand. Just so you know, you're going to need to make a decision if you want to take advantage, because in 2 weeks, 1 day, or by the way, today's the 2nd of August, no one can show you a home without a written agreement to do so. Those are the new rules. Now, thankfully you're talking to me, and I make certain that you're happy with me. Take me for a trial run. If you don't like it, cancel it. How does that sound?
Good.
Just how I would do it. And I want to ask that question, because how many times you do it? And I said, so you're working with a realtor? Yeah. What's your name? I don't know. Susie Q. Okay, great, thank you. But now I have a really good reason to be a little bit more specific. Hey, I just want to make sure, do you have a signed agreement with another realtor? Yes, I do. Oh, fantastic. I want to make sure that they know you've been through the home. Can you tell me who that is so that I can honor them and make sure that they know that you've been through our house, and I can follow up directly with your realtor, because I don't have an agency towards you. What is Susie Q's? How do you spell Q? Is that Q-U-E? Or, I mean, they either have, if they've signed an employment agreement with another realtor, even if your brain is seasoned and you have to think about it for a minute, I know where I can find that information, right? So that's, to me, an opportunity for us to really positively encourage that type of conversation. Does that make sense?
What if they say not yet, but I have a realtor in mind?
Okay, that's fantastic. I love that you're thinking about that. And you know, oftentimes it's always great to have a second opinion. An open house, you don't need an agency to see this. Would it be okay? Would you be offended? Do you mind? However you want to phrase that. If I share with you what I do to make certain that my buyers win, there's no risk. And a second opinion, all it does is make sure that you know, it makes it more powerful for your conversation with your other friends. Would that be okay?
Yeah, especially if you maybe also say that you know the areas around there, and there might be other ones that they.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. So would you be offended if I sent you a list of all the homes that are similar to this home in the area? Would that be okay? Great. I see you didn't finish the input form on my QR. What was your email address? I mean, we can go to open houses, but we might as well make it productive so that we can make a living, right? So let me jump into this. Anyone who's been here before know that I'm breaking my business into 3 simple categories. Other people? No. I'm focused solely on social media. I'm only doing this. There's no wrong answer. This is what I do. This is what our team does, and this is what 320 of my partners across the country do in place. And we are the #1 mega team in the United States. We did over $20 billion in sales last year and over 20,000 units. So we're good at what we do. I'm one of the smaller pieces of the pie, but I'm a part of the pie. It makes it more fun. I get all that stuff. The 5 P's, thank you, Sherry. You're moving me along.
Moving you around.
All right, the 5 P's of open houses. Okay, psyche, how do we think about it? I hate open houses. I don't want to do an open house. The thought of doing an open house makes me sick to my stomach. Well, maybe this isn't the class for you, okay? But you got to get your head wrapped around, why am I even doing this? And is it a part of my business model? Is it a part of my business plan? Once you get through that, you got to prepare. How am I going to prepare for this open house? Then I got to prospect to the open house. So what we do, we don't just, and I've done it, I've got one this afternoon. I have not called, I haven't prospected, I haven't done what I'm supposed to do. I admit it to the world. Whoever's watching this are like, oh, Carl, you're not saying what you said. Because sometimes you do that. But the reality, when you're doing it the right way, you're prospecting for that open house. You're doing things to get people there. It's part of a lead generation process. Then when you're there, you got to perform. Don't bring your book and sit in the corner. Yeah, have a nice here. Go ahead. We've all had those days. Okay, we've had those days, but you won't make any. You're wasting your time. It's a huge time suck to go there and not do anything, or go there and entertain yourself with looking at your friends' posts, doing all that sort of stuff. If you're there and there's no one coming, you have 4,000 people to get on the phone with, right? Let's go. Okay? You've already sent the video, so why not follow up with a phone call? It says, hey, I sent you that video. What'd you think?
They'll be like, I'll go right to the seller.
Okay, fine. That's fine. That's fine. You got to go through 100. You make 100 phone calls and get one lead. How many? Are you selling 100 homes this year? Are you selling 5 homes this year? What is your plan? Okay, but you got to perform at that open house, and then after that open house, you have things you need to do. All right, so let's do the math. Okay, 2 out of 3 buyers hire the first agent they meet. Have you heard that before from NAR stats? The first agent they meet. That's the data from what we've linked. That 2 out of 3 buyers will hire that first agent that they meet. That's true. When they've come in, they've maybe already have a realtor, or they've already met someone. Okay, but that's a fact. 80% of open house guests are unrepresented. I don't know if I believe that or not.
More so these days than it was.
Because a lot of times they're lying. It's like you're going into Nordstrom's and you don't want them to help you find that pair of jeans. I'm fine, I'm just looking. Just leave me alone. I don't want to be hounded by the realtor. But they're probably not, especially now, none of them are probably represented properly, right? 53% of all open house guests will hire the first agent they meet and are unrepresented. Those are national stats from NAR. Think about that. You get 4 people to come to your open house. 2 of them aren't represented, and 1 of them will probably sign with you if you say the right thing. You do 2 a week, you kind of do the math, okay? So, let's do the math really quick, okay? If I'm going to grow my database, he's already got 4,000 leads. He doesn't need us. But the reality is, I need more leads in my database. So I'm going to do an open house. Generally speaking, the numbers that I look at and what we see nationally is you could get 2 nurtures from every open house. Does everyone know what I mean when I say the word nurture? I mean, they're looking to buy a house. They're saying it's okay if I stay in touch with them. They haven't signed an agreement with me. They may not hire me, but if I nurture them and say the right thing, I can maybe get them to go into business with me. But if I get someone who says, hey, is it okay? Would you mind if I send you all the homes in the area? Sure, that'd be great. And I send it to them and I follow up with them. And I say, hey, I noticed this other house coming on the market. And I'm developing that relationship. I'll get a signed agreement from every 2 nurtures. We have to do the work and actually follow the process for that to work. And then, once I get a signed buyer broker agreement, they're not all going to buy, but maybe I just get 1 closed deal from 2 signed agreements. I got 2 signed buyer broker agreements, but I only get 1 closed deal. Okay, so to help you with that, 8 nurtures equals 1 closing. 4 open houses. Let me do 4 open houses. I'll eventually get a closing. Now, it may take a year. Sometimes people forget. I want to sell something next week. Well, sometimes you gotta follow the math, and people oftentimes spend a year before they make that final. They're at night looking through Zillow doing their thing. It takes time, and you have to be in with them and staying in touch with them. So, figure out. I know you probably all played with this. And I'm not going to dive into this too much, okay? But let's go back to it. Let me just explain it. You have to, who here has done a business plan for 2024? I will be teaching a 2025 business planning course. If anyone needs help with the last 6 months figuring it out, I've got tools that'll make it super fast and easy, okay? You don't need to join my team. I won't spend more than 20 minutes with you, but I'll help you, okay? Which is, you gotta have an idea of how much money do I need in my checking account to pay for food and gas and housing, and what is my budget? I need to make X amount of money. All right. Well, what's my average sales price? I'm new. I don't know. Well, the average sales price in terms of median sales within all of Armless is, Sherry?
4,900. 442,000.
Right, so it depends on the area. Between 440 and 449.5 is where we are within the last annualized period. You take Scottsdale, it's different. Take Paradise Valley, it's really different. Take Casa Grande, really different. Okay, we got buyers markets on steroids in Casa Grande. We still have sellers markets. We've got annualized price appreciation of 9%. We have negative 1 or 2% appreciation depending on the area. So it all depends on area. You got to know your market. You got to do your previews. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know your data. And if you don't know it, ask. It's not that hard. Don't let it intimidate you. But people always are going to say, well, how's the market? I don't know. It's crazy. Unbelievable. It all depends, right? But sometimes they really want to know. And hey, you know what? Every market's different. If you're curious about the value of your home, I'd be happy to send you my opinion of your value. Would you like me to do that? Even if you want to sell it, it's a great baseline to have in terms of that great asset. And it gives you practice doing a CMA. Okay. What to do before an open house? Okay.
Oh, am I moving too fast?
No, you're
Sorry.
good. Let me just ask you guys, what do you, who here does open houses? I should have asked that. Just a couple of you. Okay. So what do you guys do before an open house? How do you guys prepare for an open house?
I sit in my truck and go through Instagram.
You sit in your truck and do what?
And just go through Instagram.
Instagram, I guess.
Oh, okay, that works. That'll work.
No, I pretty much, I got it down, like I want to do like 2 or 3 a week. And so I try to just make it as simple as possible, because you get the signs up and just get in the house.
I understand.
And because if you do so much preparing, I've done it, buy the balloon, buy the cookies. If I do all that, I'm not going to enjoy open houses.
Right.
So I just try to get it done.
Where do you advertise it, or do you? Do you advertise it?
Are these on your own listings or other people's listings?
Both.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I put it in MLS because I do notice people they find it on Zillow from me putting it on an MLS.
Correct.
And then they're waiting at the house before I get there.
Right.
Which sometimes I'm late, and if I'm ever late, I'm so stressed out that there's going to be somebody like, where were you? Like, I have to be early, you know? But, right now, in this heat, I haven't had that happen. Where
Well,
people are waiting for
I
me.
am never late.
No, I've never.
No, don't believe that. No. This is how we set up
It's a
his
problem.
open house. His open house is supposed to start at 4. We put it on the MLS for 4:30. Okay.
I've had to start doing that to myself, and then also you're out there putting up signs. It's just so much preparation to get into the house, and then like you said, sometimes you're like, sometimes I have snacks. Sometimes it was a hard week and I don't have snacks there, but I feel like I need to do more advertising because the signs are drawing people in less than even just people looking on Zillow,
Right.
which that has gone down for me. And I don't know if it's the heat. So that's why I'm here is I'm like, okay, now I'm not seeing people coming in from seeing it on Zillow, but there's an open house. Where do I need to market? So I have one that's in Sun City, and I've made flyers, and I'm thinking of just going I know all the old people go to this place to get food in the mornings because they
Yeah.
get it cheap,
Yeah.
and the rec center, and I'm just gonna start putting maybe I could have an open house there this certain day a week or something, and just putting them out because it's not work, and I'm having to switch my hours to early because I'm like, this is an elderly neighborhood.
How long have you sold real estate here in the valley?
I took a break for a few years, but 20 years.
Okay, so you've seen hot markets and cold markets.
Yeah.
And you've seen where the seasonality of our market is in play, and you've seen markets where it doesn't friggin' matter, right? We are back to right now, because we're so plateaued right now, and inventory is way down, but demand's way down too. Thankfully, in most areas, demand's still a little higher than supply. And so we are in the seasonality of 115 degree heat.
Yeah, nobody
Okay.
wants to look at open
And
house.
it's you have to not get freaked out about that and just accept that because the nice thing about this type of business is if you're actually doing an open house and someone actually comes into your open house, that's friggin' awesome because they're just, when you think about it, they're not just hey, let's go for a stroll. Yeah, they're going in for a reason.
It will get irritating if you're trying to make your 4,000 calls at the open house and someone comes in.
Yeah, but you stop and you focus, okay? So we're going to talk about that. That's great, okay? And I think one of the things that just from
I think it's right along these lines, though, your traffic patterns and you know what your neighborhood needs are, right? Because you said Sun City.
Yeah, I'm trying, and I mean, I'm like really trying to like accommodate the neighborhood, and I know that most people leave in the summer there, so it's really hard, but I just need more ideas. I figure there has to be other ways to advertise,
We're gonna give
and
you
I'm
some
doing
ideas.
the bare minimum, I feel like, and I need to learn how to like.
But we also need to not spend a stupid amount of money on this either.
Yeah, exactly. I looked at the
Yeah.
Sun City Independent, and they told me for the smallest advertisement for 1 week was $400.
Whoa.
And I'm like, for Sun City, and that's just Sun City, not Sun City West included.
We've got some specific ideas for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. But you gotta think it through. So you gotta pick your home, right? Maybe it's your listing. So there is no picking. It's my listing. So you better get it on the MLS early so it has time to percolate, so that when they see it at Wednesday at 11 o'clock, when they can't sleep and they're scrolling through Zillow, they're gonna look and maybe plan for it. And I'm really good now with my mobile app on Armless when I'm running late for my open, which has never happened, but if I were to run late, I make certain that I go in there and I change that open house time prior to me getting to that open house. And when that person says, I thought the open house was at 2 o'clock, I go, oh my gosh. You know what, Zillow is so slow sometimes, we change that. What's so funny? It's not funny.
Such a good idea.
Well, that's what I do. Unfortunately, that's right. 45 years of professional selling. And I'm reduced to, oh, how do I save my ass from being embarrassed? Okay, so, all right. And so, but sometimes you don't have a listing. And you want to show a listing. I have had, just when we did this open house challenge, going in and who knows how, I'm assuming you do, but if you don't, ask, who knows how to go into MLS, add vacant as a search field, add selling brokerage as a search field, find out within your brokerage where the vacant listings are, do a map search so you see where you want to sell and where the vacant listings are, so you know who to call to see if you can do the open house. You guys are all comfortable with that. You're newer, so you may not be.
I'm not even in MLS yet, because I'm not.
Well, then when you're, that's a question to ask. Just remember to ask that question. Hey, how do I customize this so I can find this? Okay. Most brokerages say, oh, you got to do it within your own brokerage. They will let you do it. MyHomeGroup will let you do it. But you got to be on purpose. You got to make sure there's written communication between the other side, that they understand agency. It's a hassle. Why go through the hassle? Oftentimes you can find it within your own brokerage without too much trouble. Are we cool on that topic? Okay. Do 2 open houses in 1 day. I've done that. Because sometimes you got a dead open house. If you do a dead open house, stop it. Go somewhere else. Right? I think I'm doing 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And this last sentence, I stole this slide from a friend, and no one's hosting an open house within a walkable area is just ridiculous this time of year. However, okay, in Central Corridor or a historic neighborhood in some of these cool areas, that makes a lot of sense, right? And when you come to Sun City, understanding that, getting someone on the phone and asking what their rhythms are, they get old people. I'm old. We don't sleep as much. We get up. We get going early in the morning, right? They're going to that rec center early in the morning.
And they're still late. Go figure, right?
I have a question. How many hours do you do your typical open house?
I'll show you
we
that.
got that.
Oh, you'll show me? Okay, sorry.
Absolutely. We'll get to that. It depends. Okay, so bottom line is is this the next slide? Did I miss? Is there one? Okay. When you do an open house, okay, I know in my mind what I'm trying to do there. I'm trying to sell the house. Why not? It's a house. I'm holding it open. I should be able to sell it. I need to know what's going on about it. Or I want to develop a relationship with someone coming through the home, either get a listing or get a buyer lead. I'm looking for leads. That's what I'm doing. Okay, and to do that, generally speaking, I need to hand out a flyer. I can use the listing agent's flyer, but it's better. And some people don't want to do paper.
This is the sign-in sheet.
Oh.
This is the sign-in sheet.
Okay. So I want you guys, I'll pass these around. Did anybody use this outside? You're like most of the people that come to our house, like, I don't want to be in your database, right? But this is, you put this on your phone. Everyone's got your phone. Take a look at this. And you'll see that it takes them and it puts it, you can use, there's Zapier, there's different tools. Bitly, I think you've used before. Everybody has different CRMs, okay? Or you can do it differently, but a digital sign-in is an option.
This is option B.
But you gotta be careful, because they'll do this and not touch their phone and walk away, and unless you're paying attention, did they show up in my CRM? You know, they didn't do it.
What program do you use?
Well, I'm on, my CRM I use is Brivity, so it's a tool that I got within my CRM, and it's fun, I like it, and so that's an idea, okay? And what we do is when they sign in, it automatically comes into my CRM, and if they check the box, they want surrounding areas, it automatically sets up a listing report, so it sends them things, because I'm trying to get them to my database. I mean, trying to get my website, because when they're on my website, then they've got all their information, and then we nurture and we develop. You don't need to do that technology. You can do it manually. You can do it on purpose, but you want to capture them. Oftentimes,
This is a less intrusive way of doing it when you're asking them for feedback on that card. It's,
I think this is great.
yeah, so, you know, we get this from our title company. Any of your title companies will rip off and duplicate this, okay, if you ask them to. And we're like, you know, depending on how you want to play it. Gosh, thanks so much for coming in. We'll get into some of the scripts and we can play with that. But the idea is, hey, you know, I'd love to get your feedback on this home. Would that be okay? Get a little clipboard with it. Sure, that'd be great. Fantastic. You know, if you don't mind, I'd like to make sure I get your information, because on this side is the information I really care about. Or if you fill that out, I just want to make sure I can share with my client. There's lots of ways we can talk about how we want to do this. If they don't want to do business with you, that's okay. But in today's world, especially for security, there's no reason why someone should not be comfortable sharing with you who they are. And there's nothing wrong with saying, you have a signed agreement with another realtor, so be it. And they go, I don't want to give you my information.
option C. This is option C.
Yeah.
They don't want to give information. There's a box on here, do not contact me. We just want to, hey, our seller wants to know everyone that comes in. And especially for, well, men are in danger too, but especially for a woman. It's like,
There's nothing wrong with saying, I promised my client I'd let them know who came through. You don't need to work with me, but if you're uncomfortable giving me that information, I respect that.
and your
Have a
title
nice
company
day.
will also.
They don't need to come in your house. It's your space, it's your security, it's who you are, and there's something they don't want you to know, maybe you don't want to know them. There's nothing wrong with telling someone to go. I've had people leave, and I've had times I don't care, right? But it's your personal choice. But you need to collect their information if you're going to have anything about it to them.
Did Brivity make this? Or how did you make the QR code?
That's part of our
It's
policy.
it's an automatic thing. But you can create. There's other tools on the internet to create QR codes, all right, and sign-in sheets. I just wanted to share with you. I made a promise I was going to share with you what I do. You don't have to do what I do, but I wanted you to see it.
We have a lot of people that leave their phones in the car. And in this heat, it's not a good idea, but they leave their phone in the car, so they can't do it this way. So using this, we can input their name in, or we can use one of these other methods to sign them in.
I usually don't have success with them using the QR code.
No.
They don't use it. It's all fancy and pretty.
Yeah.
I take it, I create it, I put it on my phone, I leave it open on my phone, and I'm saying, hey, come, I'll do my scripts and dialogues, and I'll just have one of those conversations that says, hey, would you be offended? Would you mind? Can I send you all those questions that we can, because it's all about asking questions, having a successful, asking the right questions, and from that, getting their contact information. Does that make sense? Sort of? Okay. A flyer. Some people, like some of you guys are much more tech savvy than I am, and you're like, I don't like paper. I only want to use digital. I don't care. That's all good. Maybe you want to have a digital flyer. You don't have to have your own customized one. You can take one off the MLS, right? Or you can have that on your mobile phone. Hey, fine, no problem. That's a perfect excuse. Can I get your information? I'll send you. Gosh, I ran out of time today. I don't have any flyers. Can I send it to you? Sure. And you got their contact information. It's a great way of doing that. I'm still a paper guy. I like to see the piece of paper. It makes my life easier. I'll print out a flyer. If it's my own listing, I've got my own flyers. everything, MyHomeGroup, all brokerages, it is not very difficult. All of your lenders and your title companies, they've always got some program. Oh my gosh, we're gonna make your life so easy. Just click this button, it'll automatically create this. I mean, so that's not hard to do, and it should be readily available to you. If you need help with that, I'm happy to help. But I like to have some type of flyer. I like to give to them. If I give something to you, that's why people do cookies and stuff, which I don't do. Of course, my client, I got scolded. My new listing. She's like, I expect my agent to have fresh flowers and cookies and fresh clean plates and linens. And I'm like, I called it fluff. And she didn't like that. I got scolded for using the word fluff. Because I'm like, you want to buy the house or not? Let's go, come on. And it's like, everyone's different, right? And so, but if I give you something, data, information, intellectual material, a cookie, you're appreciative, and your natural human instinct, if you're a relatively nice person, not everyone's nice, is to do what? If I give you something, what do you want to give me?
Reciprocate.
You want to reciprocate. It's normal. It's natural. It's no big deal. But if I come on hard and I'm asking, gimme, and I'm not giving you anything, my natural reaction is like, back off, dude. I don't need you or that. And the thought of buying a home with you is offensive. And that we have to be careful, because we're trying to develop relationships with people. And if you're trying to develop a relationship with someone, and I'm coming across like listen, I'm starving and I need some business and I desperately want you to buy a home for me so I can make some commission, and I don't really care about you, but would you please sign in? That's not as effective. Just saying. Okay. Market reports. Once again, this is what I do because it's easy for me. I hit a button. Isn't that great? They get a nice professional market report on their house. But people, and I've done it old school, and there's nothing wrong with old school because they say they've got it on their phone, but it's not always that easy to do that market report on Zillow that shows proper absorption, that shows how's my neighborhood market, how is it? 20 minutes, map search on the MLS, do a half mile circle around the property that you're doing, okay? And create it in one of those printed reports. You guys know what I'm talking about? Do I have time to go? I don't have time to go on the MLS, do I?
No.
Okay. Who knows how to do a map search on the MLS? Okay. The little flag at the bottom right-hand side, you click on it, and you can type in an address. That's the address of your open house. And you click the circle, and you do a half mile or a mile. Pull all the properties, active, pending, under contract, CCCM, or lots of C's, and contingent on buyer, except whatever that is, okay? And sold, maybe sold within the last 60 or 90 days. It depends on how much data is there, all right? And so I can pull that search, okay? Pulls up that list. On the upper right-hand side, click CMA, Statistical Buyer Analysis, boom, there's a summary, and I know how many active homes, under contract homes, sold homes, the average price per square foot. It's all in MLS. It's simple. It's so easy. If you need to call me, I'll spend 5 minutes with you on the phone and walk you through it if you don't know how to do that. Print out that little one piece of paper. You're giving them something. I've seen people old school wise, if you've got a vacant house, you've done that analysis of what's active, print out the actives, get some tape it up on the empty wall because there's no staging in this house that I've decided to show open. If it's a beautifully staged luxury home, maybe I wouldn't do that. But sometimes you put it up on the wall. Hey, oh, by the way, here's all the homes that are for sale in the neighborhood. Let me know if you got any questions. Hey, would you mind if I just emailed those to you? Does that make sense? But I'm giving you something. I'm having a conversation with you about it. And then it's all part of that conversation. All right. How to drive traffic to your open house. We're moving from preparation to prospecting. Your conversation was about prospecting. Well, advertising, spending money in a paper for an open house, I think is like, really, when you look at the numbers, that's a lot of money to spend. You want to make sure you've got a really clear marketing budget and analysis. I don't do it. That's money that I don't want to spend. If I've just listed it, we'll do a just listed open house on this date if we're gonna, because we get, believe it or not, we still get activity on just listed cards. But circle prospecting. Who knows what circle prospecting is? Okay, circle prospecting is you have an open house, wherever that is. Plop it on a map, okay? And you want people to come to your open house, right? You were talking, let's take Sun City for example. Who is your title company that you use?
American.
First American?
Or just American title.
American Title. Who's your marketing rep?
Nikki.
Okay. You call Nikki. Okay. Nikki, I'm doing an open house, and I want to make sure I got some traffic. I need a list from you of everyone within a mile or so. I need at least 100 names that I can call that are not on the do not call list. Please spend the money, take the time to scrub it for me. Otherwise, you got to find another way to scrub it. If you have a dialer or mojo.
Against the do not call list.
Do not call
That's
list.
when he says scrub, he means against the do not.
Some people don't do that. Just get it scrubbed, make sure it's properly scrubbed. Your title company can do that. You got a list of people to call. That doesn't cost any money. You're circle prospecting and you're saying, hey, I just am calling to invite you to my open house that I'm having this Saturday from 9 to 11 a.m. right after your such and such a class at the rec center that I heard about. Are you with me? Okay. And so I just wanted to make sure that you were invited. Oftentimes neighbors feel uncomfortable going into the neighbors' homes, and I would love for you to come by just so you can see what's going on in the neighborhood. How does that sound? Can I send you some information? I'd love to see you on Saturday. That's the easiest phone call ever. Don't call me. Okay, it's just inviting you someplace. I have cookies. I don't know. So, just saying.
I have all the fluff.
I gotta have to get some fluff, damn it. Okay. That's what circle prospecting is. Sure, we own Landvoice, and I've got Mojo, and I've got tools where I can just hit buttons and it pops up and I dial. You don't need that. Call your title company, have them do it for you, and use your phone and make a phone call. Okay? Door knocking, it's hot, it's miserable. Who knocks on doors these days? Hardly anyone. But if you knock on a door and you have good intentions, people are thrilled. If you knock on doors, they're probably happy to talk to you every once in a while, and sometimes they get it slammed in your face, right? But you have an open house on a street, why not go 5 on either side, on the same side and on the other side? That's 20 houses. Go knock on 20 doors before the open house. Hey, I just want to make sure that you know I'm holding your neighbor's home open down the street, 123 Main Street, and I want to make sure you're invited. Why don't you come on by? I got cookies. All right, so there you go. What kind of door knocking do you do?
If it's opening weekend, just
Okay.
listed, I have flyers that,
Fantastic.
you're invited, but I knock on the door and my kind of icebreaker is, hey, we listed this home down the street. Of course you're invited to stop by, love to see you, but my main reason for knocking is I wanted to let you know that you might have some extra traffic and parking on the street today, on this day, so I wanted to apologize in advance.
Nice.
More like I'm like, hey, there's gonna be extra people on the street, this is, you know what I mean? But I get the best response and I guess conversation versus okay, great, thanks, bye, when I sound like I'm doing them a favor by letting them know.
Well, you are being very courteous. You're being a nice person. People respond nicely to nice people. And oftentimes we forget that because we're in the business, I need a buyer, so you're just being considerate.
Mm-hmm.
You're being a good neighbor. If any of them choose to want to do business with you, that's an added plus.
Mm-hmm.
And our business is driven from people that we meet. They don't need to, if you meet someone and it's okay to stay in touch with them, that is a win.
Mm-hmm.
That is a met person in your database that you can send your newsletters to and stay in touch with, invite to your client parties, do those things, because by doing that, you're going to nurture them. They may never move, but they like you because you're a nice person. And if you're staying in touch with them, that moves into the sphere conversation because they are moving into your sphere, then they're going to refer you.
Mm-hmm. It's extra nice if you do a lot of open houses in the same neighborhood, so you're kind of repeat knocking.
on the
Nice.
same people's doors. You know, if I'm
So
knocking
nice.
on the same people's doors once a month, then they're like, oh, she is a busy agent in my neighborhood. When I'm ready to sell, I need to reach out to her.
And that has been successful for you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You've gotten listings from that.
Yeah.
It's an open house looking for buyers, and she's getting listings by being a nice person. Wow. That's why this whole market change for people like you and us, everyone in this room that actually want to do the right thing, is going to be great, because we have to work for a living and do the right thing, and people are going to recognize that and do more business with us, because we have to provide value. If we don't provide value, we're out of business.
Can I ask a quick question? What
Yes,
time
ma'am.
do you usually knock on a door?
Well, if it is during the school year, then I will hit houses like after 3 usually, because kids are getting home from school. So if parents are home, or like I'll push it to 5. Like I do it when I think there's going to be the someone home, the most traffic. If it's a 55 plus community, then I would do it first thing in the morning if I can, except for in the winter, then I do it in the afternoon.
Because it's cold.
There's very much temperature.
How soon would you start knocking on doors in Sun City? Let me ask you that question. What would you do?
In Sun City, I think I would probably start like 8 a.m.
8:30. It sounds, yeah. You know, it sounds crazy, but I would do the same.
Yeah.
No later than 9. You don't want to start at 9:30. You're already missing that window, and you're gonna miss, if you're playing it right, you can start at 7 and just hand it out to the people that are walking.
Yeah, for sure.
Just saying. So door knocking is viable with what we do in open houses. Doesn't cost money. It's labor. It's sweat equity. You're going to get people in your open house by just knocking on some doors and getting out there. Okay. Sphere. Now, if you don't know anybody in that 55 plus neighborhood, it doesn't matter. She's working an area, a neighbor, and she's done it time and time again. And she has success with multiple knocking in the same. That is people she knows. There's nothing more powerful than calling people in your sphere. It's a reason to call someone in your sphere. Hey, by the way, I've got this listing that I'm showing over on 123 Main Street, and I know you live close by to that. So you or someone that you know may be interested in coming and seeing me. I'll have cookies. You know, and so my point is, however you want to say that, it's something to talk about. And then the last part is social media, which I suck at, which I'm certain that all of you are fantastic at. But I mean, this is so easy. I mean, I'm embarrassed because all I have to do, it's a 2-click process for me in my system to take my listing and make a social media post about my open house. Thank you, Sherry, for posting for me. I appreciate it. But you're crazy not to post that you're doing an open house. Come see me. Here I am. You guys, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, anybody do any work in that field? Okay.
I'm starting to. I just got in.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I have like a good following, but I never do my work on there, and sometimes I get worried to put like an account. I don't want to get like weird people, because it's always been like a personal Instagram. I had a huge fitness business years ago,
Okay.
and then I don't know how to I created an Instagram, but I haven't done one posting, like a separate one for work. But I don't know how as a woman I feel like I don't know. It feels kind of weird. I feel like if something's specific to the houses or come see this house or you know what I mean. But as a woman putting out there hey, I'm going to be here on this date by myself in this house, I find myself not creating that separate profile for business. And
Use your team. Your team is holding the that way they think
team,
there's
okay,
more.
like
I mean,
that.
whether it's mortgage broker, you're
My
there by
brokerage.
yourself, or my brokerage, or my office, but I wouldn't
Okay.
say I would say my team. That way they don't know if Carl's with me. They don't know if the mortgage lender's. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe you don't put the
that.
address, okay? If you're doing that, get rid of the address. And you want to not say that you're doing an open house, but I've got this new listing, I know of some specific times that I can get people through. If you know of anyone who's interested, please direct message.
I like that. Okay.
There's always a way to communicate it, and it's important. If you've got a problem or a fear or something that's gnawing at your gut, listen to your gut. What is it? Articulate. You just articulate it. I'm worried about my safety. I'm worried about creepy old guys. I'm worried about whatever, okay? Write it down. How do I fix that? Because it's just another form of advertising. What's different than that and putting it in the friggin' newspaper?
Yeah.
It's different, I get you.
Yeah.
But I think that it's still just another form of articulating it, and there's nothing wrong with not doing
I
something.
like that word though, the team, the brokerage,
Yeah.
the other people
Because
there.
you don't want somebody, she's pretty, so she doesn't want some creepy guy being like, oh, let me.
Well,
go
then you
find
have
you
pretty
a
guys
crazy
in
girl.
there
Yeah.
too that
Yeah.
might be bothered by ugly women that are attacking them. Yeah. So.
And I'm so glad you brought this up because this is something that I've never thought of personally, because I don't really have that problem in any way, unfortunately.
No, I
So-
think as realtors, we have to take whether you're male or female, you have to take it seriously.
Absolutely.
So, they see a nice car parked up front, and they go, huh, they've got, even though you can't afford to put gas in it.
There is nothing wrong with refusing entry to someone. We'll go there just for a minute in
And
the
if you
actual.
ever feel uncomfortable with, like, someone's reacted to an invite of that, you just go, you either have somebody meet you there, or you hang on the phone with somebody if they're coming through.
And we'll get to that in a minute, but let's just go there since we're having this conversation. I'm in the conversation, even myself, and someone comes in the home. I don't follow people into rooms. I'm in the central area, and I'm standing, and I'm watching, and I'm interacting with them when they come back through. I'm standing in I don't turn my back on people. I just don't. You just don't do that, okay? And it's something that you pay attention with. You have your phone with you at all times, and if you feel odd, you go, Carl, how are you? Oh, I'm so glad. When are you going to be here? Okay, fantastic. You don't just do that. If you ever need to call me, call me. Oh, that'll be a fun conversation. I mean, even if it goes to my voicemail, just make the phone call, right? And I think that Align Showings does have, or I know Showing Time did, but I think they have a safety feature on Align Showings.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I haven't looked into it, but I know it's there. I saw it. Okay. What did you say on the phone? So.
Can I take a screenshot of that?
Sure. And Sherry sends out listings, and we are recording this as well. I think you sent out don't
Yeah,
you?
we can set up this slideshow.
Yeah, you want a
Yeah.
slideshow? Once again, we had success. So we're doing this for our own purposes too, because this is what we do. We're sharing what we I don't care. Lighting your candle does not extinguish mine. It just doesn't. You can rip off and duplicate anything we're doing, and it's all good, okay? But I'm holding an open house in your area at 123 Main Street, and I try not to lie, okay? I promised your neighbors that I would reach out to you and invite you to stop by and take a look. We know that because you already live in the neighborhood, you probably love it, and may know people that want to live here too. Do you know of anyone that might be interested in moving here? You're calling your title company, you're in your list for everyone surrounding the area in that Sun City area. Take something like this. Maybe you want to change some words. Write it down. Write it down yourself. Hand write it. Maybe you write it down twice. Read it out loud in front of your phone. Take a recording of that, of you doing it, and read it. Listen to it. Practice saying it. Memorize it. You don't want to read this on the phone, is it? How many times have you had that phone call? Hi, I'm whatever, and I'm calling for so-and-so, and they're reading. You know this, and that's why we hate the word script, because you experience that horrible scripting thing, right? We all have scripts. Russell, stop peeing on the couch. I mean, we all have scripts. We say the same thing every time, okay? It's what we do.
It's dog.
Yeah, my dog, sorry, my dog. Sorry, I should have clarified that. I have a geriatric 12-year-old piece of really cute little dog that he's got some issues. So anyway, my point is we all have, in life, we say the same things. That's what we call a script. So internalize it, personalize it. So when yes ma'am.
So if they do say yes, they have someone interested, would you say, like, tell them to stop by, or could I have their information, or you give them my information?
Well, let's just go there for a second. So, hey, thanks, and I have not even memorized this thing, but hey, thank you so much. The reason I'm calling is I'm holding your neighbor's home open down the street this Saturday from 9 to 11 in the morning, and I just wanted to make sure you were invited. And I promised them I'd let my neighbors know let you know what was going on. And I know you must love this neighborhood.
Yes.
Fantastic. So because of that, you may know of someone who's looking to maybe move into the neighborhood.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Fantastic. You know what? With your permission, I would love to give them a call and give them an invite as well. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. What's their name? If they give that to you, that's golden. You got their name, then you call them. Hey, I was talking to, what's your name?
Ambrin.
I was speaking with Amber, and she suggested that I call you because I'm holding a home open just down the street from her. I know she really wants you to live next to her, and I want to make sure you were invited to my open house. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. Can I send you a copy of the listing so you know what it is I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Great. So what was your name again? Got it. And I called you, so I have your phone number. What's your email address? And it's not confrontational. You're just having a normal conversation.
I would actually like it if somebody called me from there.
Say again.
I would actually like it if an agent in my neighborhood called me, like even though I'm an agent. Because sometimes when I go in, I feel like, oh, I'm just an agent, I'm just looking, I'm just a neighbor, and I feel like I'm annoying. So I actually would love it if somebody called me and was like, hey, do you want to come take a look? I think I'd like that phone call. It's probably the only phone call I would like.
Well, there you go. That's what we're in the business of, finding people, developing relationships, providing value so that they can see what we do, and we're helping them. I'm old school. I'm not transactional. I'm relationship, which is I've had to shift into more on purpose prospecting. Okay, that's how I've gotten the volume up. Because sometimes when you're strictly sphere, you tap out. You've only got so many people. You need more people, right?
What do you do if you call them and they get very annoyed, like, oh, how'd you get my phone number? Why are you calling me? I don't want to.
Gosh, I am so sorry. I'm so glad you asked that question. I call, it's public, just so you know, okay? You're not on the do not call list. So I got that data from a list that I got from my title company. I got that data from a list that I've got. I got it from my list. I got it from the whatever. Tell the truth. I absolutely don't want to bother you, and I'll take you off my list, but as a suggestion, so people, if you don't like phone calls like this, you can call, and I get the do not call registry information. But so I won't bug you again, but I wasn't trying to bother you. I was simply trying to invite you to my open house. Is that, and you may not be interested, but I would like to do it. Thank you for coming. No, it's all good. Does that make sense? I mean, alternatively, they hang up on you. Okay, good. Next. Because you got to go through a bunch of people. You're not going to get them all. If you get 5%, that's fantastic. A lot of times you're just going to get 1%. But you're doing the activity. And you feel good because I'm going to make X amount of phone calls. You did it, and you can control that. You can't necessarily control how many people are going to love coming to your open house, but if you do the activity, you can control it, you feel good about it. Does that make sense? Okay. What we should say at the door. This is a fun one. I love this. Okay. So,
I do like her traffic suggestion. I like that.
yeah. We need to go to the next slide. Well, we missed it. That's the wrong thing. Well, it's what you should say at the door. Was not. That was a. I guess I got to fix this slide.
I'm holding an open house just down the street. I promise you, neighbor, I'd personally invite you.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, I was reading it wrong. We're door knocking. Sorry. Sorry. I was thinking it's something different. Okay. Got it. Okay. So the next slide is. We talked about the sphere conversation, right? I wanted to reach out because I'm going to be in the neighborhood this week, and I thought I'd reach out. I'm selling another home. She left already, but not far from you. And I was wondering if you knew of anyone looking to buy and move into the neighborhood that I know you love. So these are ideas on what to post on social, but we had that conversation. There's a million options. If you need help finding things to post, we're happy to help you with that. Okay. So we made the phone calls. All right. Not all of them answered. Why not call them again? That sounds a little aggressive, but why not? Maybe you don't call the ones you've already spoken to, but if they didn't pick up or you left a voicemail, there's nothing wrong with calling twice. Nothing wrong. And there's nothing wrong with changing, hey, I forgot your marketing rep's name. Nikki, you know what? I need another list. Hurry up, by the way. I want it by 2 o'clock this afternoon. Chop, chop, if you want my business, I need this. So she'll send an email to her marketing and you'll get it. But you want to try and plan ahead on that stuff. Perform. We can do all the planning. We can make all the phone calls. We can do all the prospecting. But the reality is we have to set up the open house. I don't have a slide for this. Let me just take a moment and talk to you about what I do at my open house, which sounds very rudimentary, but it's definitely back to basics. I've got my signs. I've got my box of things that I take to every open house. Don't be offended. There is some toilet paper in there. Okay. You don't know. There's some paper towels. There's some cleanup. Sometimes I'll have a little hand brush or a broom because you don't know what you're running into if you're doing a lot of open houses. Okay. And I've got my signs. And before I go either go in the MLS and look at the map, or I go on Google. I look at the map and I go, where's my house? Where's the major cross streets? How is someone going to get here? Where am I going to put my signs? You are a retail store. You are raising your hand that you are open for business. That's all this is. And I could sit in the office and make phone calls. Why not go out where I could actually meet someone who wants to buy a house? That's insane. Go make your phone calls there. If you don't have any appointments if you don't have a listing appointment or a buyer consultation in the afternoon, go do an open house. Go do your work there on your laptop. Use your hotspot on your phone. Do what you need to do. That is much more productive. Okay? You're putting yourself in the way of people doing business with you. Okay? I look on the map and I figure out where am I going to put my signs. Every city has sign ordinance on where you can and what you can't do. I think I've only lost one sign in the last 2. Well, what was the other?
2 in the month of March in front of that school. Yeah.
Oh, the same one.
Desert Ridge, yeah.
Desert Ridge. I made the mistake of thinking City of Phoenix. I didn't look at the master plan community, and buried in there, you can't put a sign on a landscape portion of the HOA.
So we just sold the house, so we did never have to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a part of doing business. It's what sometimes you lose a sign because you messed up. But I make certain I don't put it. Some agents put it right in the middle of the sidewalk. No, I want to make sure that someone with a wheelchair or a skateboard, whatever, they can get by. Okay. Ideally, the city would rather have you have it away from the street. If you get too close to the street, depending on what kind of sign you're using, the cars will knock it over. I do happen to carry sandbags with me in the back of my car. I know I'm goofy like that. Sherry doesn't like to put up open house signs. I like putting up
I
open
wish
house
that
signs.
signs could just magically install themselves.
They can. It costs money for that.
His name is Carly's Jurgen, and he does for hire. Yes.
That's right.
And he does come with gloves, so that when they're
I
really
have
hot-
a pair of work. I have those mechanics gloves. I keep them in my right thing because I have metal signs that are heavier, and you may have different kinds, but it gets hot. Especially if you're going to pick up a rock and move it to secure your sign. But I think about where am I going to put my signs. And where am I going to put my A-frames? Where am I going to put this? Where am I going to? I think about it. Then when I get out there, I don't put up the signs and then go to the open house. I go to the open house. Okay, I go into the open house and I turn the air down so it's cool. I make sure every single light is turned on. I will open up the lockbox and take the key out of that lockbox and put it in my pocket, okay? And I will set my stuff up. If I get there early enough, which I generally don't, I'll just put my bags down and leave. Sherry would, of course, set everything up, okay? I'll put my stuff in the house, ready to go, because they're going to be waiting for you if you, oftentimes, depending on the season, okay? Then I go to the furthest area out. Let's say I got a major cross street, depending on how many signs I've got. I'd love to have 4 on a major, and then 2 on a minor, and then 1 at each individual one as I bring them into the house. I'll start furthest away. But let's just say I'm on a corner at 2 major streets. There's 2 signs there, and I bring them in, and then I put the open house sign to the home very last. I'll try to park away from the home unless there's a huge driveway, and so that people can park, so that my car is not blocking the front. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't raising my hand.
Oh, okay. Sorry, to get away from things, but that's what I do. So, what do we want to do? We want to sell the house. We want to meet unrepresented buyers. Okay? So, here's a simple script for you. Hey, thank you so much, and I'm paraphrasing. Thank you so much for coming to this open house. You know, I've found that there's usually people who come into this home are either one or two types of people. One, they're looking to buy a home in the area, or they're trying to get a sense of where the market's at because they're thinking of selling their house. Which one are you? Which one are you? They're going to which one are you? I want to know. And it's a pretty good one. If they're, hey, you know, I'm just looking around. I'm just like, great. Hey, how have you been getting into homes while you've been looking? How have you been getting into the homes? I mean, these are important questions. I just go to open houses. Oh, I have an agent. Oh, great. You have a signed buyer broker agreement with them? Okay. So that's where those questions, I said, would you be offended? Or, hey, would it be valuable to you if I were to send you a list of homes for sale in the area? Can I send you this? You know, you just ask questions, and then you can prompt it with, hey, would it help you? Would it be valuable to you? Okay? And if it's a neighbor, so fantastic, what street do you live on? Of course, I did that the other day, and then I looked on the tax records, he didn't live on that street. He was lying. I was like, you jerk. Okay, are you familiar with property values in the media? Are you aware of what homes are worth in the area? Okay? So would you be offended if I sent you an analysis on the value of your home? Well, I'm not selling. I know, but you know, you want to track every asset, and Zillow is, how do you keep track of the value of your home? Ask that question. Oh, I just go on Zillow. Okay, I like Zillow. It's great, but it kind of goes all over the board. We all have automated valuations. My website's got one. I'm sure your websites have them. We have a million of them. HomeBot, they're all over the board, okay? But you pick one and you track it. You can see when things are going up, when things are going down, okay? But it's nice to know, really, without going to the expense of hiring an appraiser, what a true fair market value is on your house. And I'm happy to do that as a service so that you can track your asset throughout time. That's how you develop a relationship. They stay in touch with you, they refer you business, and you get to practice doing CNAs. Questions? These are all good questions. I don't know if you can read it from where you are. But if you wonder what to say, and I don't know what to say, think about what's a good question to ask. Don't tell them something, ask them a question. And ask them something that they can give a more open-minded. And you want to listen. Listen for something that is of value to them. This is skill. This is practice. This is real estate 101. You're having a conversation with them. They've got their kids with them. Oh, fantastic. So you live in the neighborhood. Oh, that's great. Where do you live? Oh, you want to have conversations. You can learn, getting a new job and I'm going to be over here. Or I've got a family. Oh, I walk my dog everywhere. You know, these are important things that you can make a note of. They walk their dog, maybe you send them a note about local dog parks or something. You can create something that's personalized. People like you to actually care about them, right? Gives you a reason to do that. This is an important thing. Be more than the agent for this house, okay? People come into the open house and they say, hey, let me talk about this, the features and benefits, look at this granite, look at this quartz, look at this waterfall, look at this, isn't this great? It's all this and that, isn't it? I am selling this house. I can go get a job with Shay and be a new home salesperson, okay? Which is a good job, but that's a lot easier than what we do. Be more than just the agent for selling the house. Okay, we had the open house, we did all that. Oh wow, I got 2 minutes, I gotta hurry along here, okay?
Yeah, you've got
But you gotta think you gotta follow up. If you go to all this trouble and sweat, and you've busted your ass, and you've done all this, and you actually have someone, well, maybe they're not gonna buy, but you've got a name and a contact information, and you don't follow up with them, this industry is gonna be very difficult for you to win. You've gotta follow up, okay? You gotta follow up with value. And this whole model, even though I'm doing this crazy production thing, our model is 2 open houses a week. If we can do 2 a week, 2 a week, 2 a week, you're doing 3 a week, you know? You just do that and you're consistent with it. It is a funnel of business that will bring you income. It's serious income. Yes, ma'am.
So how do you draw the line between, like, let's say you're holding an open house for another agent, and you know you do want to try to sell that open house, right? But
Right.
you do,
That's
if
the right
you
thing to
don't
do.
like the house, then you know, of course, you want to have other options. But how do you draw the line between immediately saying like, oh, I can show you all these other houses, you know, da 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 da.
But you gotta do the right thing.
Trying to, because I've had people hold open houses for me, and one I didn't like that right away they have a list of all the houses. It wasn't like the CMA report. It was like an actual like more detailed list of the houses, and I felt like that was like immediately giving them other options, and it made me uncomfortable.
Okay.
I don't know if that was just like too much.
It might make the
Like,
seller
obviously I
uncomfortable
want-
as well.
Yeah, and I
So-
don't mind obviously I want that agent to be able to get business, find buyers, and that's if they're holding an open house for me. But like, where is that line, do you think, of like,
I don't think you draw a line and you just do the right thing. I'm showing your home when you're a client coming in, and I'm like, thank you so much. We went through the scripts. I found out whether you're buying, selling, having these conversations. It's normal. So here, let me give you some information, if that's okay. If you don't mind signing in, a lot of times now you may feel uncomfortable. I do. This is when I would have turned my back if they were actually going to fill something out on paper or do it. Hey, you know what? If you don't mind getting the information, I promise the seller I'd let everyone know who came through. I'll get you some information on the house. I go over and leaving them alone to do what they're doing. I pick up information on the house. Maybe I've also got other additional information. And I'm saying, so just let me tell you a little bit about this home. And then I'll let you make yourself at home to self-discover. I'm happy to show it to you myself, whichever you prefer. Would you like me to show you the home, or would you like to self-discover?
Oh, I would like to self-discover.
Fantastic. So a couple things I want to point out to you. The sellers have put on a new roof last year. They did just recently have the AC serviced. And they do have a bid to do. If you see in the backyard, there's an issue with the grass. With the heat, they decided not to do it, and they're willing to give for for a full price offer a nice, generous concession for landscaping features. And I can give you that information. Here's an information sheet on the home. You can see it's split. We've got the master on this side, and we have these other 3 bedrooms here. Fantastic. When you're in the master, take a look at that tub. It's amazing. Okay, and if you don't mind, as a service to the seller, I'd love to get some feedback from you before you leave. Would that be okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, here's actually a feedback sheet, and I noticed that the online thing was kind of goofy for you. If you don't mind filling this out, that'd be great. I'm always going to do that, always, because if I'm not selling this, then what kind of Yahoo? I don't care about the house. I don't care about them. I'm just trying to get their information. I've got to give value. Or what value am I? I'm just a user. I got to give them something.
So then once they're like, you know what, this house is great, but I was really looking for this and that, that's when you start saying, hey, I have other houses.
I'm gonna stand at generally, they're gonna do their thing. I'm not self-discovering. So gosh, what'd you think of the master? Primary, sorry. What did you think? Did you see that tub? Yeah, we hate tubs. Oh, yeah, I know. I promised the seller I'd talk about it because it's really awesome. I'm a shower guy myself. But I'm gonna have a conversation with them. And I'm gonna say, so what did you guys think before they leave?
I liked it, but you know, I'm looking for something that's a little bigger.
So would you be offended if I gave you a list of homes within a mile here that are a little bit bigger? And when you say a little bit bigger, do you need an extra bedroom, or you need more space in the living area? What do you mean by bigger?
Just a little more space in the living area.
Okay, fantastic. I was doing some research on this before I did the open house. I've got a great home. I'd love to send it to you. Would that be okay?
Yes. Now, what if they said, oh, you know what, we're looking, this house looks great. I just want to, we're just looking at more options right now. Would you still offer to show other houses?
Always.
Okay.
Always. I always offer. I'm always going there. I don't assume. The minute I assume they don't want to use me, they're not going to use me.
So, sorry I interrupted, but as you're telling them I'll show you more houses, would you have them sign the buyer agreement, or just show them all the houses and spend your time with them?
Well, I can't. The bottom line is, if the relationship escalates to where they want to go look at homes, fantastic. I don't know if you know about this, and that's why I asked you if you had a signed employment agreement. And we do have a one-sheet page thing that we can sign that Armless has come out with. But I'm not allowed to show homes without an employment agreement. You can fire me after. Just take me for a free ride this afternoon, and you can stop working with me tomorrow. Is that okay?
Oh wait, but that is great.
Is that okay? That's okay? But my broker Blame the broker. Andrew, I'm going to blame you. Okay, great. I'm going to tell people that you've told. Andrew, would you please tell me
I'm just
that
seeing if Andrew's listening.
It's fine, he won't mind. Andrew, would you mind is he right there?
Yeah. He's not listening.
Hey, get him. Yes, we need to, this is
So is
important.
the person that
Hey,
you're doing
Andrew,
the
can I
open
borrow
house
you?
for, are they upset that you're just out of
In a second,
money potentially out of that? Or not really?
No, not really. I mean, because you only need one buyer, so you have an open house,
And
you
they have
have
the
8
listings
people coming
already.
through. Yeah, yeah.
So, okay.
No, because usually you're doing an open house, you're doing the listing agent, it's a favor.
Right.
They're out of town, they're in San Diego
Right,
right
you're
now,
doing
and they're like,
it.
I need to get this house sold. So,
Don't know everything calling too soon. And the next one is, remember, every open house lead is a Met. Everyone is either immediate buyer or seller. You get to interview for a job every day. You're interviewing for jobs, all of you, okay? And the law of reciprocity, that's what all we're talking about here. You're building your database. You've got 4,000. Why not 4,010, right? And you're meeting people where they are. It's important, okay? You asked about time. Okay? If you're doing 2 a week and you're really playing the way that this model is set, it's a lot of work. And to pretend that it's not is bullshit. You gotta spend an hour in prep, you gotta spend 2 hours prospecting, 3 hours at the home, and then an hour as post. It's a full hour, it's a full day. But if you do the math, 2 open houses a week, and you have 728 hours per year, you're gonna generate $150,000 in net income based upon this math and this model.
Oh, okay, I thought you made it there for 7 hours.
Well, it's 3 hour open house. Maybe you do a 2 hour open house. Maybe you do an hour of prospecting. We're just being realistic.
Right, yeah.
Are you sending us?
Andrew, I've got a quick question.
Are you sending us?
I'm going to be holding an open house actually this afternoon.
Okay.
And I believe that you asked me to please get a buyer broker signed for every buyer that I'm going to be working with.
At your open house?
If I'm going to go show them property, you've asked me to get a buyer broker signed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great.
No,
My broker, so I'm not lying when I say, you know what, my broker has asked me to make certain, because of all the changes in the rules, that if I'm going to work with you, okay, that we have a written agreement to work together. You can fire me, I've written it right here. But that way, I'm following the rules. My broker, who is strong, virile, and I'm afraid of him, won't get mad at me. Is that okay with you? It's an easy conversation. Sure, no problem. And well, I don't know, just why don't you take me for a trial just for today? We'll go look at that house around the corner. If I'm going to go show someone a house, we're going to have to do it in August. Why not do it today? Why not? Get in the habit of it now. So, there we go. So we practiced and did role play. I'm 6 minutes past. Thank you. Anything you want to add, Andrew?
No, just know that these changes are coming August 1st. And to Carl's point, not just you, but everybody's going to have to do the same exact thing. So you better be good at it, because we're all going to have to say the same thing.
Because if they leave your open house and you didn't ask for it,
they go to Andrew's open house.
they're going to go to Andrew's open house and they're going to say, well, I didn't know that. Wow. Really? Sure. And look how good looking he is. Of course I'll do
Thanks,
that.
bud. Appreciate it. I'll make sure your texts are prospect.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for coming. Yes, sir.
What day of the week is best in time of the day? to do
You know, that's
this?
bullshit to be able to answer that, and we're actually having an open house. We have 3,000 people on our team, and we have an app where we're going to start tracking it this summer, so we can be really specific. But the bottom lines are, we know right now that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the best, most volume for open house activity.
However, the last couple Mondays, I have had better luck than on the weekends.
What? During the day or evening or?
During the day, we've done them. My son did one last Thursday, 11 to 1.
He had 6 people.
He had 6 people through and was running between 2 houses. And then he did Sunday. Now keep in mind, I don't care. He just does them, you know. And then Sunday he did them. And I did the other one, so we were kind of tag team. And I had like 6 people through, and he had 9. So I can't understand, I don't understand the Monday thing. I don't know what was going on in this town the last 2 Mondays, and we're talking the heat of the day. We're talking like 2 to 4.
Really?
Yeah, so, and just because it's hot does not mean they're not going to look at open houses. So.
I think I want to reinforce that. I don't know. Nobody knows. You can look common sense and talk about what traditionally you're going to see. Used to be open houses on a Sunday between 1 and 4 in the cooler time of the year, and in the summer you're going to see them 11 to 1,
Check the
10
area,
to 12.
and if you have anybody else doing an open house, and you can search for open houses on MLS. And just like I did a Bubbles and Bites one day with 2 other gals in the neighborhood, we all like sent people to each of our open houses. So people aren't just going to 1, they're going to 3, maybe 2, maybe 4.
And the challenge with that is people can get it like, well, they're mine. No, they signed with me, so that can get a little weird, but it does create activity. So who here is going to do an open house in the next week?
We're leaving here and doing one now.
That's
so
awesome.
Anybody would join us, you might want to.
That's right.
How soon before do you recommend putting it in MLS that you're hosting it?
If you could
As soon
do
as
it
possible.
by Wednesday, I mean, I do believe it takes time to percolate because I think it goes in the, like if it goes in MLS today, I think by Saturday it's hit Zillow, it's hit Redfin, it's hit the open house things, and I think you'll have more success.
Okay.
So,
Is
but
it
you
your
can do
is
the
it
night
your listing?
before.
No.
Okay. If it's not your listing, Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
If it's, let's say you're doing it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, try to do it at the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Because it takes time, right?
Right.
If it is your listing, and you know you're not going to do it open for another 2 weeks, put it in today. What's the worst thing? They show up and they go, I thought you were holding your house open today. Because they were too lazy to look on Zillow and open it up and see what the date was.
Yeah.
They just saw the
We'd be
flag.
happy to do that.
It's illegal. Does that make sense? But if it's someone else's listing, do it the week
We'll
of.
know.
But if you do it the day
more on
before,
Miss Valley
you
stuff
won't get
by
the
end of
activity.
week, by Friday.
I did an open house today from 9 to 12 in Phoenix, and then the same house yesterday, and I did it before maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I had more success at that time frame.
Which
than
one?
the
Which one?
afternoon, 9 to 12.
Yeah.
Right by Lucy's Market in like North Phoenix, Melrose. And it's a little breakfast place. Because I was
I love
looking at
that.
your slides.
Right.
Very accurate. And it was people that were looking for people from out of town. So they already live in the area, they know it, it's a good community, and they just come in and...
Because they're on their way to Lucy's.
Exactly.
They're right there. Hey, let's go look at this open house.
Going to the office, you find them during the